Well, hi, everyone. I'm Gary Berman. Welcome to the Cyber Hero Adventure Show. Thank you so much for being with us today on the Rapid Responder Special Edition to honor our nation's veterans on this Memorial Day. On behalf of a grateful nation, thanks so much to all of our veterans who have served and continue to serve our country so selflessly. And also a special shout out and thanks to your families, because people seldom realize that the sacrifices that families of military people sacrifice a great deal as well. So, on behalf of a grateful nation, bless you all, and thanks for who you are and what you're doing. Speaking about what you're doing, some of you may have wondered why I sometimes have this costume here. And why a 64-year-old man is dressing up like this and trying to talk about cybersecurity. My wife, by the way, thinks I'm batty, but that's another whole discussion. But the question is, why am I doing it? Well, basically, I was a victim, became an advocate. Now I'm here to help. Had to learn a few things, so went to a bunch of cybersecurity conferences, which is the source of my particular superpower. So speaking of superpowers, let's introduce today's guest, Jerry Chen. Hey, Jerry, how you doing?
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, are you kidding? Thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And, I want to start off with a very interesting and important kind of aspect of our beginning relationship, which is the name of your wonderful daughter. And those of you who watch my show know that from time to time, I invoke Einstein. And the reason I say the word Einstein is because a long time ago, I heard a story that a reporter asked Mr. Einstein. He said, Mr. Einstein, on one hand, you have science and physics and mathematics. And on the other hand, you have many people who believe in some universal authority or God. How do you kind of reconcile those two views? And Einstein famously said, coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. And so I was, talking to Jerry the other day, and I told him this, and he goes, well, I have a coincidence for you. So Jerry, take it away.
So every time I tell a story, I tell about this, I kind of laugh, and people don't believe me until they actually see my daughter's initial. I actually named my daughter's initial EMC. It's like and for a long time my daughter didn't understand what's EMC. Now she's getting ready to graduate from high school and getting ready to go to college. Now she understands what's EMC, and I keep telling her that once later on when she have a kid of her own, it'll be a EMC square.
Okay, so we have to establish some ground here rules here, Jerry. Let me do the kind of the comedy, and then you focus on the substance. That way, we kind of stay in our lanes.
Okay.
But that you are the very first person that had a better Einstein story than the one I showed. That you actually love what he represents so much that you named your daughter after her, and she's going to be a defender in a different way. She's going to get into medicine and healthcare. So please thank her for that. But today, what we want to talk about is our nation's veterans, and this is an incredibly interesting story because. I heard from a general recently. He said something that really caught my attention. He said, we serve in silence. And when he said that, it really caught my attention, but not now. So Jerry, tell us a little bit about your origin story and how and why you became so passionate about veterans causes.
Okay, so if you guys look behind me, right, I am a veteran myself. I served in the United States Navy for 11 years. That's including reserve and full time. I think the military is very important, right, for a lot of people and stuff, right. So not just I serve, right. I my uncles and stuff. My uncles, my cousin, they all serve in the military. I later on in my life, I didn't find out that I heard it from my aunt that my uncle was actually in the the Navajo Toe Talker unit.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't even know. I didn't know about that until much later on. My aunt told me that, told me the story after my uncle passed away and stuff. And serving in the military is a privilege. It go all the way back to uh, um, uh, my grandfather day. He didn't serve in the military here in the U.S., right? But he did serve in the military somewhere else. So it is in the blood, right? So I feel like that, giving back to the country that I love is a good thing.
Wow. Again, on behalf of a grateful nation, thank you to you and to your family for their service. And in getting to know you, you have an incredibly interesting journey. And so why don't you, well, I'll tell you a very interesting, another kind of Einstein moment, that one of our, kind of missions is to kind of pivot the whole cybersecurity and IT ecosystem from fear, uncertainty, and doubt to fun. Because of course there's much to be afraid of and uncertain and doubtful of. And the analogy that I often use is the whole community is like this giant aircraft carrier, and really big and powerful, but kind of slow to turn. But then you have all this kinetic planes and everything going on crazy all the time. That's kind of like cybersecurity. But you actually know about this firsthand. Can you share with our audience your origin story?
So my first assignment that was on board the USS Saratoga. Um, yes, you're right. Is a carrier. When I first stepped on on that ship, they told me there was like 5,000 people on it. I'm like, no way, they can't fit 5,000 people on this little tiny ship, right? But yes, they could fit 5,000 people and
Wow.
300 so-on planes and stuff, right? Depends on the configurations and stuff, right? And my first assignment that I was tasked for is to work on the flight deck, right? And it was something that I never experienced. When people say that that's the world's most dangerous job, and I didn't kind of believe it until I got up there, right? By the way, watching Top Gun, on TV and stuff back in the 80s and 90s, as a kid, we all watched Top Gun, and you see the increase of folks actually joining the military, the Navy, because of Top Gun. Seeing it on TV and being on a deck is totally something different. Right.
And what are some of the differences, as you would describe them?
So sitting at home watching TV, you don't freeze or you don't sweat. Standing out there in the cold, you will get cold. They do run operation 24/7. So flight ops and stuff. When the plane is flying, somebody's working. So being on deck, there's no such thing as stoplight, green lights and stuff. You just have to, if the plane is moving, getting ready to taxi, and you need to get to the other side, the only way you could actually go to the other side, right, is only way you do is underneath the plane. So the
Wow.
plane is moving, and you try and go underneath the plane at the same time, hoping that you don't get sucked in by the intake.
Wow. I mean, that's just an incredible story. And you did that for, a long time, right?
Yep, I did that for a long time. I started um, as a learning the deck, and I became the training officer for the department, and then quality insurance and stuff. Is in the beginning, I was a very young guy, and people was they come on, follow me, we need to get on the other side. I said, no, let's wait until the plane get by. And of course, I said, no, you can't wait. you know Follow me. And what he did was, like, he went underneath the F-14, and I looked at him, was like, hell no, I'm not, no, no, negative. I'll wait until everything taxi, and I'll go on there. I said, no, if you do the right thing, and it'll be fine, right? And then later on, of course, I get used to it and stuff, right? And then daytime and nighttime is two different things, right? Remember, it's the flight that is not lit up at nighttime, right? Is dark. You need to know your way around. And then by the time I became a training person, I had to do the same thing with the new folks coming in, and they gave me the same look, same sign that I gave the guy when I was first starting it.
Wow, that's incredibly interesting. We have some breaking news here. Military veterans who served and protected the nation are now well positioned to transition into much needed cybersecurity jobs. That is incredible that we're getting this breaking news, and we happen to have you here. And you're doing some really interesting stuff in that area, Jerry. But to set the table for our audience, our producer and our team located this very interesting research that is from the Pew Research Center. Why don't you take us through, what we're looking at here?
Okay, so a lot of folks that don't understand, as this nation, less than 10%, and you guys could actually read this and stuff, right? And less than 10% of the population actually serve in the armed force, right? That's including folks that attended the service academies and stuff. So we are a very unique club, right? That we belong to. And a lot of folks, believe it or not, the governments spend millions and millions in training somebody to learn certain skills and stuff, right? It's the skill that we learn is a skill that people may not learn in universities or anything like that. It pretty much on the job training.
Yeah, indeed, on the job training. And, one of the greatest aspects of our veterans is, they are so open to training and they're so good at it. It just seems like it really lends itself to certifications and training and things like that. Let's take a look at a couple more of these little data points here to see what you think about them, Jerry.
Yep. Folks are so I kind of know about this a little bit, right? So when I first started working in a financial company, one of the things that I was doing besides building cybersecurity program, I actually was building the veterans network, getting talents pipelines right into the company, because we know that our service members are well trained in certain areas in the cybersecurity space, especially in the threat intelligence area and security monitoring area. So again, right, I was building the cybersecurity program, but I was actually also building a veterans network, right, to bring in qualified veterans, right, or even not qualified veterans, or here's a better part: bringing the family members into the cybersecurity area, teaching the right thing, right? So that they learn a skill.
Well, I mean, that's incredibly valuable. And we're going to share with our audience momentarily the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so I'm wearing this T-shirt of the Tunnel to Tower Foundation. So this is a foundation that was set up about 20 years ago. And for those that are old enough to remember, right, that during September 11, there was an attack in New York City. There was a firefighter named Steven Stillard. He was a firefighter in Squad 1. That he was on his way to play golf with his brother, and the picture that never forget Walt, that's his older brother. That I was planning to play golf with him, but instead of playing golf, he actually turned around. He just turned around and put his uniform and decided to join his brothers to kind of rescue people in the town. So doing his rescue, right, and of course, right, he perished, right. No, his body was never found. Same among with all the other veteran. I mean, all the other first responders' body was never found. So the foundation was set up. The foundation was set up to kind of help a lot of Ghost Star families, not just Ghost Star family, wounded veterans, and first responders and stuff. So recently, what we did was some of the events that we did, right. Recently, last Thursday, we actually built a smart home and gave away to a Marine that had lost his legs. Right, so the smart home that we built is mortgage free for them.
Wow, and as we're taking our audience through the website, why don't you tell us what we're looking at here, how they can help?
Well, So there is a couple of things that people can get involved with. If you guys in New York, I welcome you for the New York City the 5K run in September. Don't ask me the date, but September is in the website. We just announced it because New York City we just now opening up. Last year we didn't do the run. We've been doing the run for the last 19 years. So we do fundraise for the run. 5K run is a great thing. A lot of people show up. You run. You have firefighter coming throughout the New York City. I mean, fire coming from the United States, dressed in their fire gear and run through the tunnel. The same step, right, that Steven Stiller actually went through, right? As a 5K run. Or people could donate $11 a month, right, to the Tunnel to Tower Foundation, and that $11 go towards building more home, right? Building more home, paying more mortgage for Ghost Star families, wounded veterans, and first responders and stuff.
I mean, how wonderful, man. Thank you and everybody involved in this initiative for doing what they do. We're going to open it up to take some questions and comments from the audience. And so, Jerry, as we're thinking about that, let's dive into the topic at hand, which is, veterans and jobs in cybersecurity. I know just from a great deal of listening and learning from folks all around the world that there are a lot of veterans in cybersecurity, yet it seems could be so much more. Is that a valid premise?
Yeah, there is, right. So recently, if you look at my what's this left shoulder, right there's the Army flag. Even though I'm a Navy guy, I'm again, when we take the oath, there's no such thing, as in Navy, Army, Air Force, and so on and so on. We take the same oath. There's no special oath for the Navy or the Army. So recently, I was talking to a couple of graduates from West Point that kind of interned for me a couple years ago at the bank. They told me they were very happy that I kind of convinced them to go into cybersecurity space, and they both got into the cybersecurity realm. So now they graduate from West Point and they continue going in to do the continuing education on cybersecurity area. Now a lot of I go back to your question that you have, right? A lot of veterans that why they're good in cybersecurity area, because a lot of them know how to think outside the box, right? And already know what to look for and ask the right questions and stuff.
Indeed, and they're disciplined. They follow through as a group, and they accomplish their missions. So I think that's important as well. So you had mentioned a bank. You had started a program while in your previous job. Can you share with our audience a little bit about that?
So I started two programs. Are you referring to veterans program or cybersecurity program?
Both.
Okay, let's start with the cybersecurity program first. So I started at this bank maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and I was asked to come in to kind of build the cybersecurity audit program.
Can you say forgive the interruption, can you say the name of the bank or not?
Bank of New York Mellon.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't work for them anymore, but it is a great organizations and stuff.
Yep.
So I was hired to build the cybersecurity audit program, and first thing that I kind of told them is like, hey, there's no such thing as cybersecurity audit program. It was before the NIST framework, right? And I was actually that's another funny story. I was actually sitting in the movie theater watching a movie that talk about ships and boats, and I don't know, I can't remember, but I know it was ships and boats. So I came out and I kind of answered the phone, and when the recruiter told me you might be a perfect candidate for it, and I said no, I don't want to go to audit because audit is bad. Right, and I was joking with them. I know audit, and they said no, you get to come in and build the program, and they pretty much let you do stuff, and I kind of asked them is like, so what do they have right now? How many people will be working for me? He's like, none. Right? And because we need to test, we need to pilot and test proof of concept that this actually work. So so again, I mentioned that it's before the NIST framework, right? So I took my knowledge that I had as a network engineering, architecture. I was even a BSO at an insurance company called AIG, right? Um, so I took the knowledge I have and I understand network, and as a kid growing up, I like to take stuff apart and put stuff back together and stuff, and
Yeah.
create a very small program to look at uh, the the network, and the access points and stuff. Right. From there, I was able to discover a lot of issue that previously the auditor that did not detect. Right. So from there, and the team grew from a person of one to person of eight throughout the world.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
cover the whole entire program of the around the globe, and they keep telling me, when I say they, the regulatory bodies keep telling me that I was actually the first that created the cybersecurity audit program in the financial area.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
and they
quite,
yeah.
forgive the interruption. Yeah, that's quite a breakthrough. And so, but you also started, a great veterans program as well.
Yep. So during my time that I was building the program, I got a little bit bored, not bored. I looked at a company that been around 230 something years. The founder of the company was Alexander Hamilton. That was the right hand person, right?
Wait,
Right hand
is that for real?
for real. The company's been around 230 something years.
Wow.
Yep. So Alexander Hamilton, that you guys followed the show Hamilton, right?
Yep.
It's pretty much true, right? He was a guy that came from nothing, became the first treasurer of the United States. But people don't know about the little bit history behind that is he's also the right hand person of George Washington. There is a brigade that, I don't ask me the name of the brigade. There is the brigade still named after him. They're still very active in the army,
Hmm.
right? So and the part of the other business is Pershing, General Pershing, right? Pershing. So I came in. I figured that a company been around such a long time, why don't we have a veterans network? And our founding person is a veteran.
Right.
So I decided to kind of took the challenge along with four other folks. F Air Force, Army, myself, right, and a recruiter. It sounded like a bad joke, and you know, walk into the bar and stuff, right? But we were very passionate about helping veterans and stuff, right? So we co-founded the Veterans Network at BNY Mellon, and it's become very successful. I mentioned earlier, we take on the West Point cadets, right, as interns, right, to teach them about financial stuff, technologies, and so on and so on. Because it is important, something we mentioned about I mentioned to the cadets and stuff, right? Yeah, you might have 6 year commitment. You might be the next president of the United States, but it's good for you to know other stuff besides what you learn from schools and everything.
Indeed. And, just to frame this out a little bit further, one of the things that's very widely, known and discussed in the cybersecurity and IT ecosystem is the shortage of, folks in cybersecurity and in IT. And here is just an interesting sort of series of statistics we came across that all these IT and computer related jobs, of course, cybersecurity within them, are really just starting to explode. And from everything that we hear, it's only going to become more important as we go to the future. If there's this big gap then of millions of jobs and high paying ones as well, and we have these great veterans who are totally open to training and certifications and serving the country, and there are seems to me a lot of very well intended efforts to bring veterans in. What do we need to do as a country or as an industry or as a community even to speed all this up and to really accelerate veterans, be the tip of the spear like they've been through their lives?
So take the proactive approach, right? Don't wait for them to get out, right? Sponsor some of the events and stuff. Companies could go into the to base and go in there and every um uh, um, station, right, or base or anything, however we call it, have a program called the TAP, a Transition Assistance Program. TAP is like they know military folks are getting ready to leave. Everyone in the military have to go for this TAP program before they actually go back to the civilian role. So what the TAP program is they teach them how to write a resume, right? Teach them how to dress besides what they wear every single day in the uniform, right? Even kind of teach them, not to say yes sir, yes ma'am to everything, right? Um, so get involved, go to the base and talk to them. Hey, I want to be part of your TAP program. I want to get involved. I want to help you guys and help the veterans that are coming out, right? To prepare them for the civilians world, right? And if you do that, you actually you build a relationship with the base. When people hear about it, right, they will come to you and tell you, hey, I'm about to leave in 6 months. What should I do? Right, I do that a lot, right? Not just the military, even law enforcement. I use NYPD as an example, right? I've been working with folks that 2 years before they retire in 3 years. Hey Jerry, I'm getting ready to retire. What should I do? Okay, first thing, let's build your network, right? You have a great network, but you need another network for you to do your skill. But what can I do? I'm just a cop. No, you're not a cop. You're great project management, right? You're great investigators, right?
Yes.
Yes, let's look into those areas. Same thing with military. I'm just a security guy in the military. No, you're not a security guy. Let's kind of figure out what are you good at. Military does offer a lot of training. Take those training 2 years before you get out. Let's take those training a year before you get out. Take those training, and if you have clearance, let's maintain those clearance because company are hire a lot of military folks
Oh
with
yeah.
clearance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's one piece. The other piece that I have struggled with at Bank of New York Mellon, not just bank to bank. Every single corporation has the same struggle. Why should we hire veteran? I want to hire that person that got his MBA, right? But the way that I was convincing or explaining to HR and stuff is like, hey, this person may not have an MBA, but he have a leadership skill. Maybe when he was a E4, a E5, he lead 20, 30 people, right? So they learn how to make decisions very quickly and stuff.
Well, there are so many important things that you just said. Let's unpack, a couple of them. First, I'm going to invoke an Einstein moment because, prior to jumping into the digital universe, I was one of the things that I did was I served as the executive director of something called the Anthem Project, which was a 5-acre real estate development, a vision to provide everything that veterans needed on a single campus as they reintegrate back into civil society through the TAP program. And I had the opportunity to meet with many generals, General Shinseki at the time, and people at the VA to see if we could think completely out of the box by having something that didn't reside within the VA itself, yet helped veterans. And so I walked the halls of Congress, senators, congressmen, and all that, and military leaders, and it was an amazing privilege. We got clobbered in what was called the sequester, which was this government cut down, and I think the number was like 5% of everything, and unfortunately we were probably lumped into that. So I have a tremendous gratitude for people such as yourself and your families, because I had the opportunity to listen and learn from them about how to help them reintegrate back into civil society. So what you're saying is really fantastic. The second kind of piece to this is how do we incentivize people who are hiring IT and cybersecurity people to sort of open their aperture to think about cybersecurity in a larger way, based on the idea that according to NIST, or a division of NIST, the National Institute for Cybersecurity Education, NICE, there's something like 57 distinct work roles in cybersecurity. And I don't think anyone knows about them. And the one that I am occupying is, how do we distill complicated technology information into something people can get their heads around? So it's communications. Help our audience understand that. What are the opportunities for veterans who may not be, super technically oriented, but have these other skills?
Right. Believe it or not, a lot of veterans have a lot of good project management skill.
Yes.
If you look at a lot of stuff in the cybersecurity space, right? Let's take vulnerability management for example. Vulnerability management area is not, you don't have to have a skill to go on and detect the vulnerability in the machine. Hey, it's like you click on the button, the software run it itself. But you also need, you must have a good person, right, in the background to kind of follow up on a lot of issues and stuff, right? Veterans, a lot of veterans may not have those technical skill, right? But they have the project management skill that the company should gonna again hire. Companies spend a lot of money training the people to be project managers and stuff, right? Some of them they might get it right away. Some of them might not get it. Hey, in the military, folks, everyone is a project management, because when you move up the rank, you become project management.
Well, and also to build on that a little further, the notion of certifications, as veterans acquire more skills, it seems, just because of macroeconomics and COVID and things like that, the idea, the strategy of getting certifications, in addition to those people who go to 4 years of college or 6 years to get, a master's degree. Maybe you can help our audience understand the value of learning by doing, and then having that validated through some certifications like CMMC and things like that.
So, let me get your question right. So you're asking me that, help the audience understand. A lot of people that they sometimes they learn by on the job training. Is that what you?
Yes, and maybe they don't, go to 4-year college or get a master's degree, yet they still have, very relevant skills that they can be trained up on within the cybersecurity ecosystem of these 57 different roles. Maybe it doesn't have to be just, ones and zeros.
So from what I understand, and I've been talking to a lot of university folks and stuff. A lot of time that what universities teach you is theory, right? And what the military folks actually doing is live, right?
Okay, that is a big idea. The way
Yeah.
you just said that right there, and its theory's great, but like, we're live, and the consequences of people in the military and the live kinetic or digital battles that they're in can literally be life or death. I had a guest on our show recently. He recently retired. His mission was to defend the entire country of Israel. He was the #1 cybersecurity guy for the country. And his last 2 assignments or areas of focus were to secure the election and to secure everything about COVID. And so I asked him early on, before we went live on the air, I said, about a year ago or so, there was an airstrike on a building in I think it was Gaza or Hamas, that took out a cybersecurity and hacking operation. And I asked him, I said, did you happen to know anything about that? And I just kind of chuckled, thinking, he's not going to say anything. And he raised his hand. He goes, that was me. I mean, now we're seeing kinetic action from cyber-related stuff, like the Colonial Pipeline attack. So this whole notion of live is becoming more real for people, isn't it?
Yeah, yep. It is right. I could relate to a lot of stuff that the person you've spoken to and stuff. Right, a lot of time talking to a friend, they talk about how great this program is and blah 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 blah. I go, yeah, it was me that I did it. I was the advocate for it, or I was the one that created and stuff. Right? Yeah, I know, and that's one thing good about the military folks, right? You know, we do a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know about. Yeah,
That right. Well, you maybe as we're kind of wrapping up here, that's really the opening premise of what we're talking about. That you serve in silence.
yeah. We
Maybe you
silent.
have to stop doing that. Maybe you have to be doing what we're doing right now, so people have a more complete understanding of the contributions that our nation's military makes to not just to our defense, but to our country.
A lot of people, you know, a lot of folks that they cannot say it because again, they're still under contract, they're still under the rules and regulations and stuff, right? But you giving people a platform like me to talk about this stuff is great, right? I wish everyone is like you. I give opportunity to, you know, even folks, right, that are coming into the cybersecurity area, or cyber security professional to come in and kind of talk about this. You mentioned the pipeline incidents and stuff, right? If you look at the last event that you have, you talk about the presidential the presidential executive orders and stuff about ransomwares and stuff. Hey, you know, you notice that from that point that you talked about to now, how many people are really talking about it? How many people are actually going out and looking for more talents to kind of come in and kind of cover those areas? You know, because of that, right? Because of that executive order, you know how many cybersecurity job that I seen spike because of that.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty amazing.
yeah,
Well, so Jerry, as we're kind of wrapping up here, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience? And make sure that you mention the websites and also how people can get in touch with you.
yeah, absolutely right. So just, you know, since this is a Memorial Days and stuff, right? Just, you know, remember, right? Again, less than 10% of the American actually serving in the armed force, right? Go out, you know, you see one, you know, you don't have to celebrate or remember them doing Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Hey, we could do this 365 days a year, but when by remembering them and helping them is let's hire more veterans, right? You know, like the foundation that I belong to, right? We help our veterans and again the first responders 365 days a year. You know,
Right.
yeah. So let's create programs. Create if you manage a department or you even own a companies and stuff. Hey, let's start hiring veterans. It's great. If you haven't tried it, you should. I'll give you another example real quick. Rams. I know the time is running out. Our CEO. He used to be a CEO of Bank of New York Mellon, and doing a town hall meeting, I was sitting in the front, and he was talking about veterans and stuff, how important veterans and stuff, and he's one of the guys that don't like PowerPoint presentations and stuff, right? He doesn't like meeting after meeting after meeting. He kind of make it quote go, hey, and no, I wish my staff is just like the military. When you tell them to take a hill, they take a hill. They don't talk. They don't sit here and talk about and draw everything out and have a discussion. They take
Right.
the hill, and then of course everyone that I knew turned around, looked at me, and go, "Oh crap, what you got me into?" Right, But veterans, it's great. They know what to do. They love the challenge, right? We should hire more veterans. Go back to the website. Again, the foundation I'm with, right? Um, $11 a month, we could help a lot more veterans and stuff. We have a lot of veterans out there that need help. This year's around, we go build additional 40 homes, pay off 40 homes, right?
Wow, that's
For
great.
for veterans and first responders and stuff. Let's remember that those that sacrifice their life for these countries and stuff, right? $11 right now is like a coffee at Starbucks for me. Actually, for my kids, right?
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. And just can you say the website again so people
It,
will know?
it's t2t.org. www.t2t.org.
Okay, perfect. Well, Jerry, on behalf of the Grateful Nation, thanks so much to you and all the unsung heroes who toil in anonymity to keep us safe. And one of the steps that we're taking in support of veterans, and this is going to be kind of an exclusive right now that we're going to be showing people. Nobody has seen this, including my team. But we're going to be announcing on Wednesday the Cyber Hero Network. And it's going to, when thoroughly operational, include opportunities for veterans and others to seek jobs and to learn more and things like that. Our first event is going to be on June 17th. It's a micro think tank on cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. So keep an eye out, for that. And so, as I said, on behalf of a Grateful Nation, Jerry, thank you so much for who you are and what you do and why you do it.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.